Destination Smokehouse just did an interview where they found himself exposing Mr. Tendernism. They believe that Mr. Tendernism is actually the villain in this situation, that they did nothing wrong, and that he went out there and lied and misrepresented certain facts to make them look bad and make him look like some poor old man who got taken advantage of. And they're claiming that's far from the truth. Let's do a quick recap for the people who are not familiar with this story or forgot about the details. Walter, aka Mr. Tendernism, left Destination Smokehouse. Destination Smokehouse was a brand that he started to work with and made it famous, right? His Instagram reels made them really famous, gave them a lot of visibility. It increased their sales, it increased their numbers, and made the owners rich. The brand itself was doing really well on the back of Walter, aka Mr. Tendernism. Now, when people found out that he was not the owner of the brand, they got really pissed off and they began to push for Destination Smokehouse to give him ownership. Fast forward, Walter ultimately leaves Destination Smokehouse, and when he leaves, he tells Cartel Bo and a lot of people involved in the situation that he was fired. And his team told media members that he was fired, and he was not given a good faith opportunity to stay with the brand and get ownership.
Hey, man, Texas Tendernism is in full effect, man. Them people did my boy wrong, man. They did our favorite uncle wrong as hell, bruh. But we not worried about none of that, man, because we already bought the building. We got it down here. We got the barbecue truck down here. So it's connected. However you want to do it. If you want to travel or he want to work straight out his restaurant, he can do it. You know, we've been on the phone. It's really happening, man. Them people did my man's wrong, bro. They exploited him. They exploited our uncle, man. They exploited him, man. They used him, man. The racist white people use to the fullest of what they can get out of him. And the second he stepped away, because he was doing it out the heart, out the loyalty, they trademarked the word tendernism, fired him, and told him if he can't use it no more, we gonna sue him. So we breaking all that. That's dead. We done already trademarked another way to say tenderism. He good. We give him his own restaurant. He ain't got to pay for nothing. We coming out of pocket for everything. All we ask y'all to do is, man, bless Unc Gang, man. Go send a couple dollars to Unc, man. Y'all already know what time it is. Let's get Unc going.
Even the official GoFundMe, where he raised over $100,000, stated that he was fired. That Walter was ultimately fired from the restaurant he helped make famous. So Destination Smokehouse coming out 3 months later to claim that Walter was not fired and he lied about that is some pretty serious accusations. Because that would mean that Walter scammed on the GoFundMe. That would mean that he raised $108,000 under false pretenses. So it's either he got fired or he didn't get fired. It's either he was taken advantage of or he didn't get taken advantage of. Now, everybody around Walter claims that he was fired. They also claim that he was taken advantage of. Because if you made that restaurant, if you took that restaurant from unprofitable, according to their own words, the restaurant was unprofitable, he made no money from it. If Walter took it from unprofitable to millions of dollars in business, to millions of followers on social media, to being a household name overnight, him being fired without equity, without no returns, is wrong and is foul. Well, Destination Smokehouse is saying that's not what happened. So here's what they had to say about the breakup with Walter.
What happened, or what is your relationship with Walter? Because that kind of separation seemed to be the epitome of a good thing that then separated. But what actually happened? Because it was a little inconsistent. Did he leave? Did he stay? Or maybe you could share your side of it, of what happened with Walter Johnson.
It is disappointing. I did not want this to happen. Walter and I have been realizing for like 6 months before he left that this was bigger than we ever expected. And we've already been through bigger than we ever expected multiple times, but this was different. And we had talked all the time about how the internet was trying to do their divide and conquer on us. And he would be the first one to tell me, like, Nick, don't worry about it. We're good. Don't let them do this. What I feel happened was the noise got really loud to where people who originally loved Walter started saying a lot of negative things about him that he did not like. And we were sticking through it and we were fighting through it together.
I'm an expert on this topic because I've been covering this from the very beginning. What he's referring to is the Uncle Ruckus accusations that was hitting Walter. You know that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's sitting down and the black man is like hugging him, like Uncle Ruckus is like hugging him, like, Ma, so we good? That's what people are putting on Walter, because When the situation went viral, when people found out that Walter was not the owner of Destination Smokehouse, there were a lot of content creators, a lot of fans creating think pieces breaking down why Walter should be part owner, why Walter deserved more, why Walter should get the trademark. And when they found out that a trademark was being applied for under Destination Smokehouse or Black Diamond, that set it off some more. So when people were speaking out against against Destination Smokehouse on behalf of Walter, Walter was doing interviews with Destination Smokehouse telling people to mind their business, they don't know nothing, they can't come between the brotherhood, and that made people refer to him as Uncle Ruckus. So he's referring to that, and he's saying because people was hitting Walter with the Uncle Ruckus accusations and they was turning on him, that now forced Walter to turn on him to placate to the people who was calling him Uncle Ruckus. Now, I don't think that's what happened. I think what happened here is Walter heard enough times what he's worth, and he heard enough times what exactly like people felt like was him being taken advantage of, and he kind of did his research and looked into where people was sending him, and once he found the information he found, he kind of felt like, damn, y'all right. And that's when his entire attitude and his plans kind of shifted, right? Because Walter was in these interviews defending Destination Smokehouse like his life depended on it. When the internet woke him up, he began to look into certain things. And as you're about to hear, Walter was kind of planning on staying at Destination Smokehouse while also building something for himself since he don't have ownership in this. And they're about to admit that they essentially told Walter he can't.
And about 2-3 weeks before he left, he called me one day asking a question about one of the videos that someone had edited and made me look like I said something about him. And I was like, Walt, you were sitting right next to me. I was talking about myself. They're trying to make it seem like when I said that this guy started with zero and I'm doing this, they think that I'm talking about you. I've said this in other interviews, that I started with zero. This isn't the first time I said it. He's like, all right, man, whatever. I'll see you later. So next time I saw him, everything was kind of okay. But the long and short of it, my feelings is the outside noise got really loud. He didn't like it, and we tried to fix it on our own. And outside of that, I can't speak to it anymore. That's really a Walter question. But the opportunity that came to him was something that he discussed with me multiple occasions. And I told him that I thought it was good for him, but I didn't think it was good for Destination. I actually even felt like, again, we were close like that and we built a lot together. So I feel like I had, the right to say this to him. I actually thought that it might not be as good to do this, his new opportunity, because of what we had at Destination. And we hadn't even scratched the surface yet. We had so many things on the horizon that were really special. And as soon as he left, those things almost disappeared immediately.
So Walter was right. So he didn't lie. Y'all did fire him. You don't have to say it to fire somebody. Yo, this man said, Walter came to me because Walter was presented with a lot of other opportunities, right? People wanted Walter to come and do food reviews at their restaurants and rate their stuff and TV appearances and other things to grow his personal brand. He came to Destination Smokehouse after growing their personal brand, after making Destination Smokehouse a national name, after making them famous, after giving them 1 million followers and subscribers. He don't even got an Instagram. So he comes to them and say, hey, I want to do my own brand on the side. I want to do videos for myself. I want to start touring. I want to start doing food reviews and making content, but I also want to be a Destination Smokehouse as well. I just want to do personal content on my spare time in my own time. This man told Walter, yeah, but like, that's really good for you, Walt. Again, this is like the passive aggressive niceness. It's like passive niceness. Yeah, that's really good for you, Walt, but I don't think you doing food reviews for other restaurants and giving them clout would really work for us. I don't think that will work for us. Now, how many times do you have to tell somebody, hey, that's not gonna work for us? Like, you can do that, but it's not gonna work for us. How many times do you gotta tell somebody that until they get the message? Especially an older guy like Walter, he like, what? Yeah, so you didn't say outright, you are fired, but you told him, hey, it's either that opportunity or us. You choose you doing your own personal stuff or you do our stuff. You can't do both. And when you tell the man he can't do both, in as many words as you told him, that's firing him. I feel like after building your brand, after making y'all famous, after making y'all millions, he should be able to do his own personal Instagram page and make his own personal content and do his own personal food reviews and build something for himself, especially if he doesn't have ownership in the restaurant. Now, he does explain the ownership part, and we're gonna get there, but am I making sense to y'all, bruh? Does that make sense? Like, do y'all feel like Walter going out and doing his own thing would have took away from what they got going on, so they had every right to tell him, choose between us or this? I don't think so, bruh.
And I'm really happy for him. I see him doing a lot of cool things and a lot of people showing him love and respect. And I wanted that for him and us, but for him especially. Even when he told me that he wanted to leave, and I said, I don't think it can work if you leave doing what you're currently doing for Destination. But I think this is a blessing for you that after the 5-6 years that we've known each other, that you can take the word tendernism and go out on the road and build something for yourself, 100% for you. And I thought that was a great thing. You know, all the time, everybody's talking about percentages and ownership. And Walter not only was offered a percentage of this business, he was paid like an owner while he was here. Unfortunately, and this is a question you have to ask him, I've had papers drawn up for him to review and to decide whether he wanted to sign. It was everything we had ever discussed in our verbal agreement, and he never would follow through with signing anything. And I just felt like whatever it is about the way he is old school, he didn't trust paperwork. He didn't want to be on paper locked in anything. I don't know. Again, that's a question you have to ask him. But as far as I was concerned, what we had was really special. And when he told me he wanted to do what he wanted to do, I wished him well. And I said, listen, you leaving doesn't mean we can't still, get along. Doesn't mean that you have to leave and people have to be mad that you're not with Destination. He's like, man, come on. That's crazy. He's like, man, I'm Destination for life. And I was like, well, we're really close and my kids, and I just don't want them to have to deal with anything real. Before I even got this sentence out, he's like, man, stop. He's like, we're family. So the last thing I said to him, that was a conversation we had before he made his announcement, was Nick, he's like, I'm going to go public. Hopefully I get on an interview with national attention. And when I do, I'm going to clear everything up. So I took him at that. And when he made his announcement the way he did, I was really in shock, because my feelings and everybody else's feelings was that he was fired, that he was treated poorly, and that he had to do what he was doing. And it was exactly the opposite.
My dad always told me free will don't exist when you provide a man with the options. If you give me option A, B, C, and D, and only option A, B, C, and D, then I don't have free will. I'm just picking whatever your path is for me, right? If you say it's either A or B, choose, well, I don't have free will. No, I don't have the will to choose option C. No, you told me, right? So in this situation, it's a firing. You told him he can't do his own personal thing. He can't do the opportunities that were presented to him because you believe it would take away from Destination Smokehouse. And what are those opportunities? The things he's doing right now. Going to restaurants, doing reviews, going ahead and cook for celebrities in their home, making content on his own personal page instead of putting all his content on Destination Smokehouse page. You gave him the option. You either do your own thing and build your own personal brand, or you stay with Destination Smokehouse. Now, again, I didn't see the contract, so I can't tell you. I don't know why he didn't want to sign a contract. But after seeing how y'all giving it up in this regard, bro, son, I don't know. I don't know, bro, son. After seeing how y'all giving it up here, I don't want to know what was in that contract, bro. But the contract might has very well been intact in good faith. I'm not putting that on y'all. But if that old man who was wise, if he read that contract and he said, nah, this no good, then we got to hear from Walter why the contract was no good. But I don't think we could just take your word for it and assume that you gave him a perfect contract that gave him all the W's and everything he wanted, and he looked at that and said, yeah, I don't want equity in $1 million business. I don't think that's how that works, right? Especially after he got fired. Now, he did say in regards to the trademark that they were treated poorly in that regard because They applied for the trademark on behalf of Walter, but people took it and framed it as if the trademark was stolen. But again, Walter told us that. Walter told us in that GoFundMe that when he left, y'all told him he couldn't use Tendernism anymore. And he had to fight for it. Y'all fired him, told him he can't use the business name or Tendernism on his personal page, and he had to navigate around it by adding Mr. Tendernism to it. So that's a Walter and you narrative. Now, we weren't there. It's a he said, she said. And if we have to decide who we believe, bro, we're gonna probably believe Walter. Because that old man don't look like he just out here lying on people, man.
Now, the ownership part that you just spoke of, is that similar to what happened with the trademark?
So the trademark, that's totally different. Okay. So trademark, I wanted nothing to do with back in 2024. Walter Walter was shopping, he told me, and some guy in a grocery store came up to him and mentioned Tendernism, said, hey, you should trademark that. Another person said something similar to him a few days later, and he came to me with it. I was like, listen, Walt, I don't know anything about this. Back 2024, like I said, we weren't making a lot of money still. Revenue was coming in, but I was focusing on not selling out every day. We were cooking off site. We had one smoker to cook for all these people that wanted to come in and eat. So I wasn't really thinking about it. And if anything, Black Diamond at the time had more resonance than Tendernism. So to me, I was like, listen, Walt, I'm not really interested, man. If you want to try and do it, go ahead. So he tried to do it on his own. And about 3 months later, he got an email and a text message basically saying that it didn't go through. And I don't know when he shared that with me. He might have shared it when it happened, but only time I remember actually seeing it is he showed it to me on his phone and had me take a picture of it was about a few days after someone else had registered for Tendernism first. So I was only registering it for him. He was 100% aware of it. The attorney that I was working with recommended, because of the person who'd already filed, it would be a lot easier to use Destination as the entity to get the trademark because of how we've used it.
Now that Walter has left, why is there a holdup in Walter getting a trademark? Like, there's a holdup in Walter getting a trademark because they're giving you guys a deadline to challenge it. And you even admitted to such in this video, right? That your lawyer told you the deadline to this is when y'all have to challenge it, and she's been asking you about it and you've been ignoring her. You don't have to, she's your lawyer. You could tell her, hey, we're not challenging it. Actually, listen, as a matter of fact, assign whatever trademark we got approved for, assign that to Walter, right? I don't want nothing to do with Tendernism, as you said in this video. But you said you don't have any use for the trademark. You don't want the trademark, but yet you didn't assign a trademark. And up until now, there's been a hold on Walter getting a trademark because they've been waiting on you guys to challenge it. So if you didn't want anything to do with the trademark, you could have been assigned a trademark to Walter and declined a challenge a long time ago. You didn't. So I don't know what to believe here. Y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, man? If you're still watching this video and you want to watch another good video, click on this video right here, somewhere on my screen, somewhere here, or here, or here, somewhere on my screen, to find out what very disturbing information was revealed and exposed about Faizon Love in court today. Click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. Click the hype button below if you really want to show support. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.